President Trump, and this is in line with the legislation, we will put measures in place to keep TikTok from going dark. In the legislation allows for an extension as long as a viable deal is on the table. And then, essentially that buys President Trump time to keep TikTok going. It's been a great platform for him and his campaign to get his America First message out. But at the same time, he wants to protect their data.
Well, due to a bipartisan piece of legislation that did in fact pass, TikTok is supposed to be banned this upcoming Sunday. And with that ban looming, it appears that Democrats signed on to something that they weren't necessarily in favor of. And because of the popularity of TikTok and because of the large following that Donald Trump, the incoming president, has on TikTok, he wants to prevent the ban from taking place. But get a load of this. Let's put up that graphic of President Joe Biden's statement on this matter, because it appears that he will not be enforcing the TikTok ban. He says our position on this has been clear. TikTok should continue to operate under American ownership. Given the timing of when it goes into effect, meaning the ban, over a holiday weekend, a day before inauguration, it will be up to the next administration to implement. And to be sure, the next administration, led by Donald Trump, does not want to ban TikTok. And the person you heard from in that very first video is the National Security Advisor for incoming President Donald Trump, Mike Waltz. He says that he wants to reassure the American people that they're going to do whatever it takes to keep TikTok running here in America. He says that it's part of Trump's day one agenda. But the question is, what does this mean? Because there is legislation. That legislation did pass. TikTok is supposed to be banned. I suppose if they don't enforce it, then the legislation doesn't matter. Now, Trump has been mulling ways to save the day for the wildly popular video app, talking through unconventional deal making and legal maneuvers, such as an executive order that would unravel the law passed by Congress last year with bipartisan support. He's also considered suspending, the law for 60 to 90 days through an executive order. The question is if he's even able to do that. But this issue has been brought up to the Supreme Court, and it appears that the Supreme Court is poised to essentially uphold the law that was passed in a bipartisan fashion. But interestingly enough, Chuck Schumer, who was the former Senate Majority Leader, seems to be panicking because he realizes how popular TikTok is. He also realizes that an American hasn't purchased TikTok from the Chinese parent company ByteDance. And so I want to go to this video to give you a sense of what he has to say about it.
I want to say a few words about protecting TikTok's future while also protecting America's national security at the same time. It's clear that more time is needed to find an American buyer and not disrupt the lives and livelihoods of millions of Americans, of so many influencers who have built up a good network of followers. That's why last night, Senate Democrats tried to pass a bill that will extend the deadline to give everyone more time to come up with a workable solution. But Senate Republicans blocked our bill, which is stunning because time is running short. We will continue to work to find a responsible solution to keeping TikTok going, protect American livelihoods, and protect against Chinese Communist Party surveillance. We must and can do all three. I have made my views clear to the current administration, and I will work with the Trump administration and with both parties to keep TikTok alive while protecting our national security.
I hate these people so much. I hate these people so much. What's up with all the fear mongering we heard about TikTok forever? And now all of a sudden, with this looming ban in place, what did they think was gonna happen? So now they're like, I don't know, they're trying to reverse what actually went down with the TikTok ban. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, we gotta do something, but the Republicans are standing in the way. Make no mistake, there was a bipartisan effort to ban TikTok, number one. Number two, the Biden administration quietly included this little carve out for the Defense Department that Ken Klippenstein reported about because the Defense Department wants to use TikTok for their own propaganda purposes. And so that carve out is in place specifically for government officials who were supposed to be the most vulnerable to Chinese spying. Make it make sense, Waz, please.
Here's what you need to know. Trump pioneered this hyper aggressive posture against China in his administration. That was his doing. He pioneered this great power competition nonsense. We're like competing with China on a global stage, so anti-Chinese everything with Trump. Okay, cool. This TikTok ban was another Trump pioneering. Like he was like, oh, this is Chinese, we should ban it. Fast forward a few years, Trump becomes very popular with the tech bros. I think the Andreessen dude specifically is like heavily invested in ByteDance, TikTok's parent company. He changes his tune because of that. Then also Trump himself became popular on TikTok. And so one of his sugar daddies loves TikTok is his baby. And two, Trump himself, because we know he loves nothing more than adulation. He loves nothing more than having his ego stroked. He loves the fact that he's big on TikTok. He's like, oh, TikTok is cool. Let's try to save TikTok. Like that's it. That's all that's happened. And again, to this idea that the US state is keeping the citizens safe from their data and the Chinese amassing data. This is nonsense. They have our data. Everybody has our data. It's out there if the Chinese want it. This is nonsense. What it really is, and what I think, the reason why they just don't come out and say it, because I guess we just don't admit things that are so plainly true. It's like, if we had TikTok and it had infiltrated China, we'd be working at regime change. We'd be working at sowing chaos. That's what we'd be doing, because that's what we've been doing to countries we don't like since 1948. That's what they don't say, because that's just the plain and honest truth. If we had this capability, if we had an app that's that popular in China, we'd be using it to sow chaos over there. And the truth of the matter is, because China has the great firewall, there's no Facebook, there's no Instagram, there's no YouTube, there's no Google. Hell, there's no TikTok in China. TikTok doesn't exist in China.
Is that true?
Yes.
They
have their own Chinese version that's just obviously way more heavily censored. And that's why me personally, I do think on principle, TikTok should be banned here. If like even things like Hollywood movies, there's a whole freaking CCC board where Disney and all these fools, when they want to sell their wares in China, they have to go through these strict guidelines with the Chinese to let stuff in. Well, shoot, y'all media should have to go through those guidelines to get through here too. That's where I'm with it. Like this idea that like we don't get to propagandize y'all citizens, y'all don't get to propagandize our citizens. That's just me. Now, if they open up the firewall and American companies are allowed to do whatever they want in the same way TikTok is, then cool. But nobody really talks about that, because I guess the nations don't want to acknowledge, election interference by the Russians. How could anybody ever tamper with democratic elections? Anna, you can't do that. That's so sick. We do it all the time, folks. That's what we do. What the hell do you think the CIA is? It's one big TikTok around the world. Okay, and so yeah, that's where I'm at with this TikTok ban. It's quite hilarious how everybody's bending themselves into pretzels about it now.
Wait, okay, so just so I understand this clearly.
Yes.
You are a proponent of the TikTok ban.
Yes, we should ban TikTok.
Because China makes foreign companies jump through hoops to operate from their
when they're allowed to operate at all. China has literally is dictating what their content has to do and say to these companies. Literally, there's a board that you have to pass to do that. And again, our social medias, you name it. Again, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google, like any American media is banned there. Okay, and again, TikTok is banned in China. Okay, their own company is banned there. So yeah, ban these cats.
Yeah, sucks that our jobs aren't banned there, but you know.
Oh, touche.
Yeah, look, I want to have stronger feelings about this. I'm leaning toward not banning TikTok.
Sure.
Because I think the main issue that our politicians have had with TikTok is the free flow of information on there, and how, you know, during this brutal carnage that we've all witnessed in Gaza, a lot of young people were informing one another about what Israel was up to. And our politicians hated that. They hated that so much. Democrat, Republican, whether it's Nancy Pelosi or Mitt Romney, they're on the record complaining about that. And so to me, I think it's important to protect any platform that allows for the free flow of information among Americans, or, you know, internationally, I guess, with the exception of China and other, I'm sure, other countries too.
But Anna, hold on, wait a second.
Yeah.
I have a solution for you.
Okay.
Mark Zuckerberg just said he's getting rid of content moderation. We have that here.
Right.
But you know, Mark Zuckerberg is not gonna bend, break, fold, or buckle if the United States government tells him he needs to moderate certain things on the platform that they don't moderate. Like if Trump administration asks him to moderate something, he's not gonna do it. He stands for the principles.
Right. I mean, it's never happened before.
No moderation
it's never happened
on the
before.
content. Come on, guys. We got that now.
Yeah, look, I wish we could go back to the days where social media wasn't a thing. And I say that as someone who, to some extent, benefit, like my career somewhat has benefited from social media. But at this point, I think it's caused more harm than anything else. And it's not just about misinformation or whatever. I'm more concerned about people being addicted to their screens and not going out there and building actual real life relationships and friendships. You know, we become more and more atomized every passing year. And not only is that depressing, and not only is that unhealthy, but it runs counter to what needs to happen in order to band together and hold elected officials accountable, engage in mass movements in order to like really push for the policies that we think would make the country better. Like there are some significant downsides to social media. And I just find it so fascinating that there's been so much focus on TikTok. And you're right, it all started with Donald Trump fear-mongering about China, when we see the downsides across the board when it comes to social media. Now, I don't know what the right solutions are, because there are also good things about social media. There's good things about connectivity to other people who might not live in the same city, state, or country as you. But if you're to ask me to make a prediction, I don't think TikTok is going to be banned. I think TikTok is here to stay. And that's because at this point, the Democrats have caved and Donald Trump is the incoming president. He's going to get what he wants. Any final words on this, Waz?
Yeah, I think if I had to bet something, they're gonna work out some kind of deal where TikTok is allowed to continue to being what it is here in America. I doubt they're gonna be able to keep it in ByteDance's hands, but I think it's going to be completely fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.